Okay. Hello, my name is Ben. This is kind of a short video. We'll post this on YouTube later. Anyway, this is gonna be my homework assignment. I'm gonna share my screen and all right. So what we have here is we're going through um, this particular, uh, this particular project right here, which is we can see it says download and install the CSET tool, um, Platinum dual core. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to go into this VM that I just installed, just uploaded, started from scratch, and we're going to download and install this CSET tool. Um, from what I can tell, um, I created the VirtualBox VM and I did install it in a Windows environment. Um, Basically what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna try and um inside of this virtual machine, we're gonna create another virtual machine, and that virtual machine is going to have the CSET tool on it. I'll go through the process of that right now. So we're going to go to Microsoft Edge. And what we're going to type in is we're going to type in, um, basically what we're going to type in is we're going to type in Windows 11 download. We should use the ISO because we're trying to um, get a closed Windows site that's available to us. And I found it's a lot easier to get the Windows 10 disk image. Um, Perfect. So this is from 2011. Basically, what we'll do is we're just going to um that's an update. Never mind. Um okay, there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to look up VirtualBox. Okay, Windows. We're not going to go with Windows 10. We're going to go with Windows 11, and we're going to go um ISO download 64-bit. Perfect. Note that the installation assistant will work on ARM-based, it only works on x64 processors. This would be perfect. Um, Never mind. Since we already have this running, it's not going to let us kind of install it. We're going to select this down here. We're going to do this. And before we begin, we're going to make sure that we have data space. We're just going to download this. Of course, we're going to choose English, United States. That'll take a little bit of time. There we go, 64-bit download. And that'll download the ISO desk image, which will allow us to create our virtual Windows 11 on our basically our computer. Now, I can guarantee that it'll ask us about a product key. Currently, right now, I do not have a good product key to use. I'm kind of using ones that I find on the internet. So part of me is this process is going to be a little slow and tedious. It's going to be kind of methodical on to want to try and get a solid um and want to try and get a solid uh product key before we can, go in and start downloading all the stuff. But anyway, there it is. It's still downloading. Um, One of the reasons why it's taken a while is because my computer is just naturally very slow, and therefore it does not compute very well. It doesn't help a lot that you know this is kind of what I have to deal with. Um, but I will point out that I have done an installation of this Windows 11 on my home computer with using VMware Fusion, and this has worked out really well. Um, Mostly um, because VMware is so different from VirtualBox, and because they're different operating systems. It's kind of hard to transfer Isodesk images from one area to the other. All right, so now our thing is done. We're actually going to not open it. We're actually going to place it inside of our perfect. Actually, it's right where we need it to be, which is in our main screen. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to do new ISO. Um, I'm gonna pick other because this will open up our things, and this will allow us to go here to downloads, and we can click on this, and that's an ISO desk image. And I'm gonna name this Windows Home. Now it's gonna ask us for a product key, and I don't have a lot of good product keys because Windows product keys are kind of a hit or a miss. Um, More often than not, it's a more often than not, it's a miss. If you really want to think about it, most of the product keys um, that have been used in the past are usually um, so like for example, TX 9XD. I use this one all the time because it's just a lot easier. 98 and 7V. They discontinued a lot of these old um a lot of these older codes because it violated um TOS. So we're gonna name this Windows. Perfect. And we're gonna go with um kind of the base one right now is um I just tend to go with my name. I'll go with my name, and then my password will be something completely different, or something that I know that nobody else knows. That's just because I'm special that way. Okay. So now we're gonna look back at this and we're gonna see we need five 5 gigs of RAM, 5 gigs of free disk space, 3 gigs of RAM, and we need a PDF reader. So let's make sure that we're gonna get this as much memory as possible. I'm gonna try and give it the beans and give it 6 MB. I don't think the best that we can do is 5 gigs. So that's around 8 gigs of data. That'll be 10. Let's just do 10 gigs. We only need 2 CPUs this size. We're gonna put that down to around 20 gigs of data. Because here's the thing, I don't mess around with my data. So 14 would be good enough. We should make sure that everything is okay. And it's turning it on, so now we know that it'll work. Okay. Sometimes looks like um this will be a little bit interesting to do. Um the last time that I did this in VMware Fusion, it did not work and it kind of bugged out on me. But so far it's working. So hopes and prayers, it's working. So hopefully it stays that way. All right. So currently what we're doing is we're trying to boot up Windows to see if we can download that CEST platform. Now, the instructions were unclear because it says create a virtual box and install a Windows environment. But in the creation of the virtual box, we're already in the Windows environment. The one that means we're making a Windows environment inside of a Windows environment, which kind of doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But here's what we're trying to do. Um, we're gonna try and download this CSET tool. Uh, and we're gonna play around with it. We're gonna play around with it. Let's see how it works. I'm trying to manage several different things at the same time. Says observation Terra sheet report. All right. So my installation failed. Um, so we're gonna try we're gonna try and power it down, see if that helps it. Um, maybe the system settings were a little bit fudged up. I'm gonna try and see if I can use CSET directly from here, just to give it the good old college try. CSET download. Okay. And you want us to download it from GitHub, yes? Okay. But, I'm gonna give it the good old college try and see if I can make something out of this. Um, but it looks like the CSET that you want us to download is this one. And clearly you want us to either clone the database or open up an app, which is interesting. I'm gonna try and see if I can find. Oh, here it is. Ah, okay. She said standalone version. Okay, there it is. All right. So as you can see, we've downloaded the correct version of the CSAT. I'm still gonna give it the beans and try and download it on here, which is through my VM anyway, because it's through virtual machine. I'm going to download it on the actual interface before opening VirtualBox to see if it actually works. And if not, oh, there it is. It works. Okay. Um, okay. Well, it works. It works. I got it to run. I wasn't able to get it running on the Windows, which is kind of what I wanted it to run on, like the virtual machine inside VirtualBox. I tried to get it to run there. I did say that it was a hit or a miss because, the codes that Microsoft provided are now not being used by Microsoft. So, um, it's kind of a it's kind of a hit or a miss as to what happens with the product code and Windows being installed. And that in part is because the codes have been used so often, and now they are costing money to actually use those codes. So the product keys that we have are a little bit outdated and they're not being used anymore. And because they're being outdated and not used anymore, we're having to dish out money like it was like $139 on Microsoft's website to buy a product key that would actually work for the duration of the school year. Um, but anyway, uh, okay. I think I got it to download. There it is. We got it to download on the actual Windows. We weren't able to get it done in the VirtualBox, which is kind of what I was hoping for. But as I said, like a couple seconds ago, the product keys are hit or miss, and they cost like $100 to get a product key that actually works for a certain period of time. It would say between a month or so and 3 months at best. I mean, I'm not the best estimate. We're gonna open this up and we're gonna try and run through it and kind of see how well we do. Of course, I do want to um analyze, run through it and see what they do. Okay, and we can start a new assessment, and that is kind of what we're looking for. And you said you want us to do a risk assessment for access control. Okay. And I'm seeing here that there's a lot of different types of assessments. And oh my gosh, these are super cool. Oh my God, these are awesome. Okay, I'm gonna remove that. And we're gonna start a new assessment and we're gonna look up risk. Okay. Uh, so you want us to do the risk assessment for access control. Okay. access. So would it be this one? Risk-based performance standards, guide 8 cyber. I'm gonna do this one, and if that's wrong, then it's fine. Um, this is for chemical facilities, though. I'm not sure if that's there's 57 questions in that. Um, so do you want us to do the NIST cybersecurity framework? I feel like that one would be good. Okay. I'm gonna do the um okay. So basically you gave us this assignment to help us prepare. Okay. So we got readiness, MRR, critical infrastructure, risk-based performance standards. Okay. Risk assessment for access controls and count management. Okay. Let me look this up. One. Sorry, I'm just looking this up. What is the set assessment for access control? Access control and okay, hold on. Clearly, I need to move this down. Take a look at my thing. Access control and count management. Okay. Okay. So I should do one of these risk ones. I'm gonna do this one, the risk performance based standards. Um, although uh this is for Um, oh, okay. Okay. So I've got many questions. So if I go to new assessment and then do I click on this one? I'm gonna do this one because cybersecurity framework, that's up to me. And okay, so we're gonna name this assessment for risk uh risk assessment for um it looks like this is probably the way to go. Sorry, I should put a pillow behind me because I'm sitting on a chair somewhere in my room and it needs a back support. All right, risk assessment for access control and count management. Okay. Is it? I'm gonna just fill this out as I go along. The facility name. I'm just gonna put my uh technology. Uh, safety, Harrisburg. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go run through this real quick. Uh, contact contacts. Okay. So I'm not sure how to fill out these, but this is really interesting because it tells you that you should fill in a sector, a unit, a service point of contact, critical point of contact, organization type, um, okay. This would be a small 1 hour effort. It's $100,000. I'm gonna say this is part of IT sector, and this is gonna be part of uh, uh, information technology. I chose myself, so this is self-assessment, the name of the organization, um, admin, admin. This is just local. Um, I'm gonna do this actually on my mom's small business. Um, I'm just gonna put business, and I'll put name of organization. Okay, simple. We're gonna do simple first. I kind of want to check out each one of these and try and see what they put. But simple looks like it's a little bit easier. Confidentiality. Uh, I'm gonna say high confidentiality, high integrity, and moderate. I'm just gonna put that. All right, so organizational context, there's 106. Um, the organizational message is understood, the employee cybersecurity risk management. Yes. Um, this makes a lot of sense. I do like the way that this is kind of set up for us. It helps us understand kind of what this is gonna be. Of course, at the very end, I'm going to print this out and I will upload it as part of my um, information to the actual project, along with this video, which will explain everything that happened. All right, let's continue. We have 106 of these to go through. Okay, there's a lot of buttons here. I'm getting that now. So there's a lot of buttons here, and it kind of preloads. So for example, if you click down, uh, if I click auto load guidance, okay, I don't want that. It makes it longer to read and makes it harder for you to understand, which does not help your case if you don't know how to read or understand what you're doing. Reading these, you have to be really careful, um, because some of these questions are very, very. I'm going to say yes for a lot of these, and then some of them I'm going to say no. Policy, policy. There's an alternate policy. Um, oh, you have to explain. Okay, I'm gonna put NA, not applicable, and yes. Okay, that answers them. Okay, perfect. Some of these are about just like general organizational things, like that you've overheard. And I do like the idea that you can close these tabs when you're done. But for the most part, the software just leaves them open, and it's kind of hard to know. So, for example, suppliers are known suppliers by criticality. Yeah, that's going to be obvious for most things, but for some of them, you're not going to know who the third party is. You Yeah, you definitely have to understand. Sometimes you can involve them in planning, incident planning and response. Um, Asset management. It's helpful if a lot of your if a lot of your things are being met, then it's a lot easier for you to kind of breeze through this, which I can see a lot of cybersecurity professionals doing because this is a very tedious process. It's not at all it's very boring. It's not necessarily. Um, you you can kind of perceive whether or not what these are insinuating about your company, whether or not you have low reliability. Um, some of these don't apply to like small businesses, and other things. So, for example, I would have to understand all of these if I was opening up a cybersecurity like company, and that would be like top of my things to provide because a lot of these are very important. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And that's just kind of get the double check and make sure that you've gotten everything because it opens like a whole tab and then it doesn't tell you how many are in the tab. So good luck. You have to understand that these are things that are used in the field, and when you're in the field, you'll have to fill these out on a regular basis. For government, I think it's weekly, and for, private sector, it could be often as a couple of days. It could be every now and then. It doesn't have to be all the time, but it is very tedious. I can see why a lot of people do not like this. Um, in fact, there are several in the cybersecurity world. There's several people out there that do not like this system, and most of it's for good reason, but not all of it. Yes, this does help with like understanding and clarifying risk, but if I had to fill this out every time, it's just not going to happen. It's way too monotonous. You see, all you're doing is going and clicking yes, 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 um, until the very end, and then I can see where how this system would go wrong. Mostly because people are trying to get through it very quickly, and they don't take their time to read the answer, read the situations, which when you're pressed for time, why would you read? Or more accurately, if you're pressed for time, do you think you have a chance to read? Probably not. Um, so recovery, we'll just say yes to all these, and we're gonna say NA, NA. NA basically is a cop-out answer, but I know that. I'm gonna say no to a couple of these because I kind of want to see if they give me constructive criticism. And if they do, how do they give me constructive criticism? Collapse all. I just want to go through here and make sure I miss one. See how now that was, I'm gonna put no for this. Mostly because I want to see whether or not it will give me a, okay, perfect. Okay. So overall I completed the assessment with a lot of compliance. That makes sense. So identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Recover was the worst because of course I decided to put in some no's. And that kind of fits a general population. As you can see from my results, um, what does this mean? Okay. Okay, so these are control priorities. These are the standard summary. Okay, rank categories. These are the best. These are the worst. Okay, results by category. Not bad, not bad. High level assessment description. Um, this is a sample risk assessment to kind of um to help me understand what what a CSET um evaluation evaluation will look like in the when I join the workforce. Uh, I explained all of the and I hope that you can provide me with some constructive criticism about this. Uh, hope that you can provide me some constructive criticism and help me to improve my photography skills and also my writing. Okay. Perfect. Um, no, I don't have any comments or anything else. I do want to download all according to the observation. Okay, perfect. Observation tarot sheets. Okay. Okay, file, save as PDF. We're gonna save this as site summary. Save.